Just like the Moonraker goes in search of his stream of live hangouts with you are only a click away. Anyway.
Diamonds are forever! Oh wait, sorry, wrong film.
Hello, one and all. Welcome. Hello. Greetings, one and all, to this Moonraker reflection, or audio fan commentary, we should say. And we are fans of this film. We know there are a lot of haters of this film, and haters going to hate. But sorry, this is going to be a very positive commentary. So if you're looking for an audio rant commentary, I would advise you. Well, I'll show you the door. But basically, this was requested by a fan of ours known as Sam Harrison. So I just thought I'd give him a quick shout out and also apologise for the massive delay with this one. We got sort of we got distracted with other projects and other things that we had to do, and also personal life as well gets in the way. But I'm sure he's going to be overjoyed to see us, or hear us do this. So. Yes, this is the 11th James Bond movie and the 4th Bond film to star Roger Moore. So it's right bang smack in the middle of his era. And this was the film that took James Bond into space, literally, the first time. And it was actually 2 years after the original Star Wars film came out. So you can see the inspiration there.
Rocket Man!
Yes. And I mean, this film is sort of tossed around quite a lot. It gets a very mixed response now. Some people have grown to love it, like we have. Some people have grown to hate it. Some people kind of think it's all right, or it's okay, or it's decent, or it's in the middle. I don't know. You can't really define the general public opinion.
I'd say this is more of a Marmite Bond film. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. You're going to love it for the campy, silliness, fun, or you're going to hate it for that. So
yeah. And you're absolutely right. So, yeah, Jack, before we begin, is there anything else you want to say?
Well, I'm having a Kit Kat, so let's take a break.
Excellent. Also, as usual, this is a non-profit commentary. We're not doing this for financial gain. We're literally just fans watching the film, commentating. If you have the film on DVD or Blu-ray, feel free to pop it in and mute the audio and follow us and put your timestamp to 0. We can't show the actual footage of the film for legal reasons, so you've basically just got this. I mean, other YouTubers do it. So, let me know when you're ready, Jack.
Okay, could I do the countdown?
Yeah, sure.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off!
Houston, we have liftoff. Hello, Leo. Nice to see you again. Leo the Lion, everyone.
Imagine if it began with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
That would be quite funny. Yeah. You're my artist. Yeah. Still not as epic as the Star Wars opening, but it'll do, you know.
Just a gun barrel.
I love the gun barrels. I mean, they have reused this one, but they've just basically recolored it. It looks more tinted than the previous ones, because this is the 4th movie, so they didn't really feel the need to do another gun barrel.
This gun barrel looks like it looks more than the previous ones and the ones after this, like it was shot in the studio because of the yellow backgrounds of the gun barrel.
Yeah, I can see where they filtered it, and then they've shot against the white wall, and they've basically just tinted over it. I mean, it looks interesting, but it is a bit basic.
I think the reason why they only shot 2 gun barrels was because they didn't want to. I mean, it costs a lot of money to reshoot, you know, scenes every movie, so they just reuse it. It's cheaper than shooting it again.
That's true. Plus, this film probably blew the budget because they went all in. Because obviously Star Wars had come out 2 years before. They wanted to cash in on Star Wars because originally, as a lot of us know, they were going to do For Your Eyes Only, which is the next film after the Spy Movie. But that obviously changed when they saw how successful Star Wars was. And they thought, what if Star Wars and James Bond had a kid? Moonraker. Here we are. I mean, essentially the storyline is basically the same as The Spy Who Loved Me. The central premise is anyway. But I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, this is a very iconic opening. The plane, the shuttle on top of the plane. It's a very iconic opening to the movie.
Mm. Yes. Also, worthy to note, this film marks the, sadly, 11th and final appearance of Bernard Lee as the original M. R.I.P.
Yeah, or as the Americans say, Bernard Lee. Lol.
Yeah. I mean, it's very sad that this is his last one. I think he die in some kind of accident after this or something.
Oh no, that was what was his name? Desmond Llewellyn.
Oh,
I think Bernard Lee just died of a heart attack or old age.
oh. And actually, I think Moonraker has probably got one of the best openings to a Bond movie. This is the most impressive, piece of stunt work I've ever seen in a Bond movie. When when he's fighting in air, fighting in midair with Jaws.
Yeah.
Roger Moore is Bond now. I mean, by the fourth movie in, he's completely got this part. He knows it, and he's just so cool in this film. You wouldn't believe he was in his 50s.
I think he was 52. I mean, he looks younger. He looks in his 40s.
Yeah. I mean, he was on cast when he was in his 40s, but still. I mean, he's still doing quite a lot of his own stunts in this one, I think.
I think they did have him in the plane up there, but of course it was a stunt double for when he was, when he fell out of the plane.
Yeah, but still, look how impressive this is.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great opening to a Bond film, like you said. I mean, Spy Loved Me had a great opening, but this one as well with the skydiving. It's so impressive, like, and especially since these guys don't have parachutes on. I mean, one of them does, but I think the other one has his parachute underneath his suit, so that would be quite dangerous. Like, but yeah, I mean, this is a great scene, like where they're wrestling for the parachute. Like,
I can imagine this getting a round of applause in the cinema. I mean, the scope of this is amazing. I mean, you think this is, as you said, this is dangerous, but it's something that I think Lewis Gilbert and the filmmakers should really be proud of. This was one of the best Bond openings for me. It's right up there.
Yeah, I have to say the film looks great on Blu-ray. It looks really sharp and clean, and yeah, I mean, it's a great way to open the film, like Bond on a plane, and the plane gets shot and he's thrown out of it with Jaws. First he's fighting this guy, and then Jaws comes along, like,
yeah,
and it's great. It's great to see Jaws return after The Spy Loved Me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's a great character. Actually, speaking of which, which one would you say is better in terms of the opening, The Spy Who Loved Me or Moonraker? Difficult.
I'd probably, to be honest, I'd probably say Spy Loved Me for me, but I think they're both equally as good. I mean, this is equally as good for what it is, like, a skydiving opening,
Yeah.
And Moonraker was a skiing opening. Well, actually, Moonraker was skiing and skydiving combined. Sorry, Spy Loved Me was skiing and skydiving combined, because at the end he skydives off the cliff. So,
I mean, this, that's where it gets a little bit, like, silly, but still, it's kind of amusing.
I think it's quite funny when he lands in the circus.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm sorry, I'm not really that impressed with Shirley Bassey's Moonraker. She sings it very well, but the lyrics don't make any sense. And it's a nice tune, but it's just so sappy. I mean, it's no Carly Simon, I'll tell you that. And the title sequence is just sort of bland for me. There's nothing really in the title sequence. It's just the women and the blue colors and the clouds. There's not really anything that relates to the film.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit it's not the best Bond song, and it's not in my top 10, but for me, it kicks the shit out of For Your Eyes Only, Octopussy, and A View to a Kill. For me, it's better than any of those songs.
Yeah.
I mean, the lyrics don't make much sense, like you said, but I mean, she belts it out, really. I mean, she sings it incredibly well, so I'll give her that, Yeah, I
You
mean,
know
this
what? You
film.
may as well have just done a Star Wars based title sequence because this it really makes sense. The women and then the Earth and then like the what? Like it doesn't really relate to the film, to be honest.
No, I don't mind this title sequence. I think it's quite good. Like, when you've got the shot of the moon where she jumps up and she's like, she's on the trampoline or whatever, and then it shows the moon and her like jumping in the air. I mean, I think if they copied the Star Wars title sequence, it would be way too obviously a rip-off of Star Wars. Like, you couldn't have an opening crawl and like it would just be way. They wouldn't even be trying to hide the fact that it's a Bond Star Wars rip-off.
I guess so. I mean, this is the oh, there's sort of like a space there. John Glenn into the film. I think this is the point where the series starts to become a little repetitive with the songs and the title sequences. Like the ballads start coming into fruition, and then the title sequences start getting just more about it's just women. They start to lose a lot of the creativity, but luckily they redeem themselves. I think.
No, I mean, for me, I think it doesn't start to get repetitive to me until like. I mean, I think this is beautiful here, like the women, with the moon in the background and spinning around the moon and stuff, and the flying women. Like, I think it's a really good title sequence. I mean, it's not my favorite Bond title sequence, but I still think it's good. For me, it starts to get bad with like For Your Eyes Only with Sheena Easton in the title sequence. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll grant you, it does look nice. But I just wanted to, I think it's nice when the sequences relate to the film a bit more. Them spinning around the moon, yeah, okay. I mean, I guess it's a cool idea, but I mean, now we're onto the film, and it's nice to see Moore and Maxwell still have the same chemistry as they did in Live and Let Die.
It's been over a year since he's dead now. It doesn't feel that long since he died, since he passed away.
Rest in peace, Roger Moore. I mean, Bernard Lee looks rough, I have to say, in this film. I mean, sorry to say, I don't want to sound harsh, but he does look a bit rough. Bless him.
Yeah, I think he looks all right to me, but he doesn't look the greatest picture of health.
I guess because he's aging, maybe that's why.
And actually, I think you're right. He does look a bit rough around the edges. I mean, Roger Moore looks pretty good for his age. I mean, he's 52, but he looks like in his mid to late 40s. Like, well, no, I'd say he looks in his mid 40s. Even though he was in the early 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think Roger Moore. I mean, Daniel Craig has aged really well over the 12 years he's been there, but there's been a lot of gaps with his Bond films. But I think Roger Moore, next to Daniel Craig, has probably aged the best out of the Bonds. I mean, like over the 7 films, like he never went really grey or bald or anything like that. Unlike Connery, like
yeah.
I mean,
Sean Connery is looking good for his age now, but yeah, he's very old now. He's in his mid 80s.
Yeah, I think Connery's. I don't think he does look too great. He's got Parkinson's now. I think he's gonna be the next Bond to pop his clogs. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I like this gadget, the dart gun. It's kind of cool.
It would be nice to see that return, actually. I think that would work, actually, in the modern day with Daniel Craig. I could see that work.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not over the top. It's just like, you flick your arm up and it shoots a dart. It's quite good.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Q didn't make it like a laser dart gun for this one. Then again, he made the laser guns, so...
I think it would have been too ridiculous if he'd just given him a lightsaber.
I mean, this Bond film actually, I think, is paced rather well. We get sort of straight into his mission. Yeah. So,
and when people complain about this being too silly, like Bond going into outer space and all that, all I have to say is the last quarter of the film is in space. The first hour and a half is all set on Earth. It's only the last half an hour that's in space. So, you know, people who go on about it being like, "Oh, it's so silly, it's all in space." It's only the last half an hour, like, and it's a space station. You know, they don't actually go to the moon. Like, I heard someone say, like, "Oh, Bond going to the moon's stupid." It's like, yeah, well, the film's called Moonraker, but he only went to a space station. He didn't actually go to the moon. Like, that would have been even more ridiculous.
Yeah. I think this film, you know, they tried to give it a big sense of scope. I mean, this is pretty spectacular. The views that you get here, and the photography is very good. I think Lewis Gilbert kind of really amped up the scope for this film.
Yeah. The French girl here is quite attractive. I forget her name.
Actually, she has the same name as her character, Corinne.
All right.
Yeah, although she doesn't last particularly long, but
I mean, one thing I will say as well is Moonraker is an Ian Fleming book, so it's not like they completely invented everything up in this film. Like, I mean, you know, it is the title of an Ian Fleming book, so if you're going to call a film Moonraker and you had set it in space, it's not too ridiculous of a stretch, you know.
I mean, all they did really was amp up the camp. The rest of it, I mean, wow, look at this location, Drax's mansion. That's stunning.
Yeah. Yeah. He bought the Eiffel Tower.
God, it's interesting his plan, you know, Drax, how he wants to create this kind of pure race. In a way, it's almost kind of like Hitler, kind of like the Aryan race. You know, he's trying to create that kind of, you know, those pure people who are like the physical embodiment of perfect. It's interesting how they sort of, how he uses them.
The thing I will say that brings Moonraker down a little bit for me is the fact that the plot is a bit too similar to Spy Love Me. Like, in that, Stromberg wants to eradicate the population on Earth so he can create a new population under the sea. And in this, they want to eradicate the population of Earth. Yeah, Drax wants to eradicate the population of Earth and have it on a space station. So the plot is kind of copies Spy Love Me, but it's not too big of a deal for me. It doesn't destroy the film for me.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, maybe George's girlfriend wasn't really needed, but it was, you know, it was all right.
I mean, I do think, for me, like, I mean, I agree with Alan Kalo in his review. You know, there's good silly and there's bad silly. Like, Die Another Day is bad silly because, you know, you've got all these puns, all these bad puns, like, oh, I've been known to keep my tip up, and yeah, and like Saved by the Bell, and I don't like cockfights, and like they don't stop. Like, oh, I lived to die another day.
What do predators do when the sun goes down? They feast like there's no tomorrow. I mean, Pierce, come on, really?
Not only that, but it's trying to be serious as well. Die Another Day with like the you know, the storyline of Toby Jones and his father, like the plastic surgery, and it's also trying to be serious. It's also trying to be serious with Bond and the torture. You know, when he's getting tortured, it's trying to be serious there, and it's also trying to be serious when he has that heart attack. And it's just, it feels like,
yeah. But no, I mean, I think Moonraker is a good Bond movie. I mean, for anything else, it's fun. You know, it's just one of the most fun Bond movies you can have.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's ridiculous in places. I mean, it's, you know, it does get a bit silly and stupid in places, but I still think it's fun. You know, I don't think it goes as far as Die Another Day does, you know, with its silliness. I mean, and it works for Roger Moore. No other Bond could have pulled this off. I mean, can you imagine Daniel Craig in this shit? I mean, come on.
I wouldn't call it shit.
I mean, or Timothy Dalton in this. That would not work at all. If Timothy Dalton was in Moonraker, it would fall apart. You know?
I wouldn't call it shit, though.
Yeah. Whereas Drax, he had to fly.
I mean, some people give Michael Lonsdale crap for Hugo Drax, but I think Drax is a good villain. I think he's really great.
Hey, what about this? Drax is better than Stromberg. Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you swap Drax for Stromberg and Spy Love Me, that would probably be better. I think Drax is a better villain than Stromberg.
Yeah, I mean, they are pretty similar in terms of their ideals, but I thought Stromberg was kind of a Blofeld ripoff, really. I mean,
he was though. I mean, originally Blofeld was going to be in it, but originally Blofeld was going to be in the Spy Love Me, but because of the contract expiring, with Kevin McClory, you know, the rights to Never Say Never Again, they didn't get to use Blofeld, so they had to use Stromberg instead.
yeah. I mean, he was pretty crap, to be honest. That was the only thing that brought the film down a little bit for me.
Yeah.
But still, it's a great film. I don't deny that. But it's not that he's bad. It's just that he doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Kurt Jurgens is good as Stromberg. It's just that he doesn't get much to do in the film.
Look after Mr. Bond. See that some harm comes to him. What's the name of his henchman?
I don't know actually. I can't remember his name in this film. Like, I don't even think we actually find out his name. I don't think he ever says. He's just, you know, generic henchman.
Generic judo guy.
Yeah. I was gonna say though. Oh yeah, here's the famous line here. Dr. Holy Goodhead.
I mean, the sets of this film are fantastic. Ken Adam, fantastic production design.
I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead.
Yes, my name is Bond. James Bond. I am looking for Dr. Goodhead.
A woman?
Well, we all know what Goodhead means. She's good at sucking cock.
Yeah. It's all in the wrist.
I mean, I don't know how she kept a straight face, like with her name known as Holly Goodhead.
Oh, God, all the names.
I mean, I don't know how Honor Blackman kept a straight face with Pussy Galore either.
Anyone would think that was just ridiculous, but yeah. I think Moonraker is just impressive in the look of itself. I mean, these sets and these, you know, I mean, they built all of this for the film. This is huge. I mean, I still think Ken Adams deserved an Oscar for this film, just for the design. And also, actually, another famous scene coming up there. Well, I guess we call it the G-Force scene.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, what's great about... Yeah, I mean, I think this is a very well-acted scene, but I mean, talking about Hugo Drax, I mean, I think Hugo Drax is the great villain. I mean, Michael Lonsdale's very dry as Hugo Drax, like, you know, like, see that some harm comes to him, and also, like, would I press you for a cucumber sandwich? And I also like the bit later, like, where Bond, you know, that he says, oh, they're wearing, he's like, put on gas masks, sir, there's, like, gas in here. And he's like, I do not understand this British sense of humor. Like, quite funny. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, this, I think Roger Moore acts, like, this scene coming up here, he acts it really well, like, you know, like the sense of, you know, pressure on his brain and on his body, like with the G-force, like Roger Moore acts it really well. This scene, it's probably one of the standout acting scenes for him in the movie. Yeah,
I agree, and it's actually quite an intense scene as well.
Yeah, I mean, this film, you know, it's just a fun, you know, it's just a, you know, a fun space adventure with some, you know, over the top silly humor, and it's
With
just
James Bond.
yeah. And like Alan said, it's a cartoon. It knows it's a cartoon. You know, it's not trying to pretend to be something it's not. It's not trying to be serious. It's not like they're going into space and taking it really seriously. They're taking the piss out of it. You know,
Yeah,
they're having a bit of fun.
There's self-awareness and self-referential awareness of that, and you know it knows it's silly and it knows what to do with it. Whereas Die Another Day, it knows it's silly, but it tries to be serious as well, and yeah, it just doesn't work. I mean, plus the story of that film was ridiculous, but
yeah, the less said about Die Another Day. Oh, just fuck that film. I don't even want to mention it ever again.
I mean, we've done an audio rant commentary on that already. So
let's make a rule of not mentioning that shit again.
Yeah, I mean, the only Brosnan film we haven't done a commentary on is GoldenEye. So
yeah. How many Roger Moore films we have? Fear Eyes Only and Octopussy left.
we haven't done
Golden... Yeah, we haven't done that either.
I think we did Live and Let Die, didn't we?
Yeah, we did Spy Love Me. We did View to a Kill.
Yeah, we haven't done Octopussy either.
No, with 3 left.
Yeah. Octopussy. Octopussy.
G-Force. Yeah, no, his acting here is really good. Like, I mean, the G-Force. Like, I mean, if you were going that fast, you would react to it like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is like close to death, really. I mean, almost.
Yeah. I mean, if it went any faster, he'd probably have a heart attack or a stroke or something like that. I mean, it's like I mean, it's a simulation of going through the Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah, but luckily he has his dart gun.
I mean, you're actually worried that it might, you know, that his little capsule in there just might break off and hit the wall or something.
Oh my god. You start to wonder whether he is really going to die.
Yeah. Heart attack or stroke or something. I like the flashbacks as well to Hugh at the start, testing out the gun.
Yeah, I never noticed that before. That was really close. He could have really hurt himself there.
I think he did put his body through a lot of pressure.
I think some of her acting is a little bit wooden in this film.
Yeah.
I don't know what could have happened. Hang on, James.
All I have to say is Lois Childs is beautiful. I will say that. She is a babe. She actually reminds me of Lauren Bacall, like her look, like the brunette hair and her face. She reminds me of Lauren Bacall, like from To Have and Have Not or the Maltese. Oh, sorry, not the Maltese, but The Big Sleep.
Yeah, no, she's a sexy woman. Now, I think
Yeah.
Green is pretty fit as well.
Yeah, I mean, 300 was the best scene with her. Got to see her tits. That's a good shot. I mean, you can definitely tell they spent the budget with this film, which I think is good. You know, the sets are great and the model work is great as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely tell that they went all out trying to make this the best they could with the production and the values and everything.
People who hate the film, they're just too quick to hate it. They don't stop to analyze it, think about the rest of the film.
I mean, like you said, it's self-referential. You know, it knows it's silly. It knows it's stupid. But some people are just like, oh, it's too silly. It's too stupid. Like, I don't like it because it's. I mean, I can kind of get why it is a bit ridiculous, but that's the whole point of the movie. You're missing the point of it if
Why
you.
not have fun? Why not play it a bit silly every now and then? We don't always have to be serious. I mean, the past 3 Bond movies weren't really the silliest of Bond films.
I mean, for me, Moonraker. I mean, you can have a silly Bond film like Moonraker, but you can also have a dark film like like Casino Royale or Quantum of Solace. But it's nice to have a sillier film like Spy Love Me or Moonraker or something. I mean, like to me, like Moonraker is on the very end of the silly scale, and License to Kill is on the very end of the dark scale. Like License to Kill is like the exact opposite of this film, and that came out 10 years later. Like,
yeah, it did actually. Yeah, but License to Kill is a bit more troubled, I think.
Yeah.
I just like this because it's fun, And I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan and you're a James Bond, it's the film for you. It's it kind of pays homage to Star Wars, I think. I mean, yes, it's a cash grab. I don't deny that it is a cash grab, but at least they've tried to make a film. They're not just, they've not lost the plot. They've actually tried to make a Bond movie and not just a Star Wars movie. But
I mean,
Star
for me,
Wars comes in the end.
I mean, for me, the reason why License to Kill failed was it was trying to be all dark and serious, and then it added all in this stupid humor, like with the televangelist and the winking fish and the ninjas. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, at least with Moonraker, it's silly, but it knows it is. You know, License to Kill is a very troubled movie. Like,
Yeah.
like I mean, you know, Professor Joe, like, bless your heart, like, oh God.
Sadly,
And
Timothy
I
Dalton
thought,
went out on a low note.
and I also think it was too violent for a Bond film, like people's heads exploding and people getting thrown in grinders, like Dario, and
I
people
think
getting.
Alan was right when he said it's basically like James Bond meets Miami Vice. It's more like that than it is than James Bond.
Or Scarface. It reminded me of Scarface because in Scarface, like Al Pacino's character Tony Montana, he's like a Cuban drug dealer, and there's a lot of gory, violent stuff in that. It's like Bond meets Scarface or Miami Vice. Like, oh God.
Yeah. Still.
I like that. That's pretty cool. The cigarette safe code cracker, like it's pretty cool.
Hmm.
No, I like the line. You have a heart of gold, 24 carat. It's like an X-ray cigarette holder code breaker thing.
Roger Moore was pretty consistent throughout his era. I mean, he never lost that charm and the charisma that he brought to the role. I mean, you can totally see why they really favoured him, and I think Ian Fleming favoured him as well.
Yeah, I think he was just like because of the Saint. The Saint
Yeah.
was on TV at the time, and Ian Fleming wanted Roger Moore, but Roger Moore was unavailable because he was doing the Saint. But I mean, to me, he really saved the Bond series. I mean, you know, with Lazenby, they took a risk, and it didn't pay off because he only did one film, and then Connery came back, and then Connery decided after that one film that he was done. So if they, you know, they did ask him back again for Live and Let Die, but if they decided that, Connery doing one last film, like if they couldn't find anyone else, then that was the series over. And fortunately enough, they found Roger Moore, who had a different style, a different, I mean, his films were more humorous, but it worked in his favor. Without Live and Let Die and The Spy Loved Me, the series would probably been over.
Yeah, but I mean, his 7 films have some great moments and some emotional moments too. Some of the best moments of the Bond series. I mean, he is the actor that's done the most films out of all 6 of them, and I'll be surprised if the next guy does 7 movies. He'd have to be very popular to do that. But yeah, no, he will go down and he will forever remain a huge part of the Bond legacy. And I mean, obviously, he's not my favorite Bond, but I certainly really admire him, and I really love his films. I think his films are very good. I mean, apart from Few Eyes Only, but he hasn't got a terrible film, so that's good. And this is also an interesting scene when he's when Bond and Drax do do some bird shooting. Shooting pheasant, that's what they're doing. Pheasant. Yes. Oh, excuse me. Drax knows his game. He knows that Bond has come to do some snooping. He's not an idiot. So, but neither is Bond. I think Bond has to be aware of what's going on. He manages to shoot the guy. Who's trying to snipe him.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite scenes. He's like, over there, like they're going pheasant shooting, and he's like Oh, you missed Mr. Bond.
Did I?
That's one of my favorite Roger Moore Bond scenes. Like, such good
Yeah.
sport. But like he thinks, like, he knows that Bond is a spy, and that he's going to get this guy and a sniper to shoot him when he goes for the bird. But Bond is an idiot as well. He's like, he's like, go for the pheasant. He's like, oh, you missed, Bond, and he's like, no, I didn't. It's like he knew there was a sniper up there. It's like Bond.
Yeah.
Like, even if Drax is one step ahead, Bond is 2 steps ahead.
This scene actually reminds me of that scene just now. Reminds me of Goldfinger and Bond in Goldfinger when they played golf. I feel like that was sort of inspired when they wrote this scene with Drax and Bond. But obviously they didn't have to kill. There was that. I mean, that was an interesting golf game. but this is quite dark actually. This is probably the darkest scene of the film. They wanted to show that there was some seriousness. They basically murder Corinne through the dogs. I mean, she betrayed them because she slept with Bond. I mean, I don't know about you, Jack, but I think this is pretty dark. It's pretty tense as well.
Like, some people complain about this scene, but I think it's good. Like, you need it. You need a scene like this to show how much of a threat Drax is. Because if you just had it all silly and cheesy, then Drax would be a joke. He'd be no threat. So I think this is a good scene. It's a very tense scene, and you kind of need like one dark scene, in the movie. Like,
it is the darkest scene of the film. I think we can agree there, can't we?
Yeah, but you need this scene to show that he's a threat, like, because if you just had him joking around with Bond and just Bond joking around with him, then he'd be no threat. He'd be no consequence. He'd just be a sap.
Yeah, exactly. And I think because you want to know that the guy means business, but now we got Venice, which I think this was the only time we saw Venice before Casino Royale with Daniel Craig, but.
Yeah, I like that. I think the locations here are beautiful, like France and Venice, and they go to Rio later in the film. They literally go all around the world, which is great. I think. I mean, and Venice, Venice is beautiful. I mean, I've never been to Venice, but I did go to Sicily, which I mean, Venice is in Italy, so it's this is the country right opposite it. Sicily's the island off Italy, where Venice is.
Oh, that woman on the desk is hot.
Maybe Bond's going to
She's a bit spicy.
Maybe Bond is going to check his particulars with her later.
Yeah, gonna take care of her person.
I think, doesn't he say to her like those are nice digits or something like that? Like later, I don't know.
Something like that.
Oh no! I think he says those are nice figures.
Yeah, I actually remember when I went to the Isle of Wight when I was in year 6, and I remember going to a glass factory, seeing how they make glass. I thought it's very interesting, the processes they go through. But so it was quite nice that they showed it in a Bond movie. I mean, the fact that he just kind of skulks in and nobody really gives a shit that he's there, they don't pay any attention.
Of course, all this glass is going to get smashed up later, so it's kind of foreshadowing here.
A million shards of glass walking through my past. Sam Smith.
Million shards of glass are really up my arse.
Oh yes, this is I believe this is where Bond has a fight scene later on with the henchman guy. I don't actually know his name. They never say his name. This weird kendo guy. That's, I guess, what I could call him that. Because he just does martial arts. There's nothing else to him really. Yeah. Oh, familiar face. It's Miss Holly Goodhead. Oh.
Yes.
Nice as they reunite.
Imagine if you met Indiana Jones in Venice, like the Last Crusade.
Yeah, Elsa Schneider. Which actually was 10 years later after this.
Yeah. Funnily enough, yeah. I mean, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I mean, it's interesting we find out that she's in the CIA.
Yeah, they just kind of left that one very quiet.
Yeah, I mean, at first when you watch it, you think she is a astrophysicist or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, 'cause she is American, so. I mean,
I do like the chemistry with her and Bond. Like she doesn't take any of Bond's shit. I mean, it's kind of interesting. The Bond girls in the '70s are a lot more tougher. Like Triple X doesn't sleep with Bond till the very end of the film, and Goodhead doesn't sleep with Bond until like halfway through the film or.
I guess in a way they tried to make her a little bit like Anya by making her an agent. Because Anya was obviously in Spy Lummy, she was part of the Russian Secret Service, whereas she's part of the CIA. And actually, funny enough, you say about tough Bond girls. 10 years later, in License to Kill, Pam Bouvier is also CIA as well. So it was clearly there's clearly a trend of trying to toughen up the Bond girls as the series progressed, because they were basically objectified as sex objects. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but obviously, for them, it's nice to have female power, and I think it was good that there's certain occasions where we could have that, and actually particularly in Casino Royale, Vesper, and also Tracy on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Anyway, this is a pretty cool boat chase. I mean, it gets a bit stupid towards the end with the certain pigeon. I will remain nameless, but
I do like the guy coming out of the coffin with the knife. Like that's pretty cool.
It's a fun chase scene. The way it ends is silly with the pigeon, the double take pigeon. But
it's pretty cool. Like the speedboat gondola. Like I think it's a cool chase. Like it's fun.
I mean, it's no Live and Let Die. It's no Live and Let Die, but it's certainly good.
I'd probably give it a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 maybe.
Oh, yeah, bit random.
Spectre kind of, I think, copied that scene like with the Italian guy in the car when he's listening to the music.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I'd say copy, but there was certainly a lot of guess the Bond movie reference in Spectre. There were so many references to the previous films that were subtly thrown in there. You have to know quite a lot.
This is pretty funny. His gondola's ripped in half.
Still kissing.
I mean, I do think this is a good boat chase. I do think it's quite enjoyable.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't mind it when the gondola goes on to land. I just don't like the double take pigeon. That's the only thing I don't like.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not so bad when it goes on to land. I mean, it's a bit silly, but it works. It's cool. It's quite amusing. But as soon as we get to that fucking pigeon, it just completely loses all sense of gravity after that. It just turns into a joke, which is a shame.
I like the guy with the wine. He's like looking at his wine bottle.
Oh my god! Like what?
It's so obvious though that they stopped the film and rewind it. Like, Jesus. I think that's funny. Like the guy pouring the beer over the guy's face, watching it.
Yeah, that fucking pigeon. It just makes no sense. They didn't keep that in the film.
Yeah. I mean, people complain about the gondola going on land, but it is a Q branch gondola, so I believe it would go on land. I mean, if a car can go underwater and become a submarine, then a gondola could go on land and become, be able to drive.
It only goes on to land for literally 2 minutes. if that, you know.
Yeah.
Then everything kind of ceases when they get to the double take pigeon. It feels like there was more that they could have done with that chase on the land. That they cut out.
I don't blame Lewis Gilbert for the double take pigeon. I blame John Glenn for that because he's the editor. He's the guy who edits the movie, and he's the one who put in the double take pigeon. Not only that, but you know, I think he edited the next 3 Bond films because I mean, he added in the Tarzan effect. He added in.
Yeah, I think Lewis Gilbert should have called him on that. Should have said, "No, this is too much. You should have just cut that out." He's the director; he has more power over him, but maybe he thought it was a good idea at the time. Who knows?
I laughed. That's from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That music bit there. I didn't notice that until Alan's review of Close Encounters. I watched it because I haven't seen the film, and they used that as a theme. do. How funny.
Yeah.
I think actually the Broccoli's asked Spielberg's permission to use that, like, you know, the do.
Yeah. I can see why, I suppose.
It's a funny. I mean, I didn't even know it was from Close Encounters of the Third Kind because I was a kid, and I saw Moonraker, and I still haven't seen that film, but I noticed it in Alan's review.
Yeah. I mean, this is a cool scene where we see all the scientists making the formula. Ooh. Again, once again, the sets are just impressive. I mean, even to this day, this film is nearly 40 years old. I mean, next year it will be 2019, so. Yeah, it's nearly be 40 years old. That's quite amazing, really. But, I think so far the film's enjoyable. I mean, I'm having fun watching this film. It's breezed by. It's 44 minutes, and I haven't felt it dragged at all. Yeah, there've been a couple of moments which are a bit double take pigeon, but I think this is one of Roger Moore's most fun Bond movies. It's just delightful. It's silly, it's absurd, but if you can look past that, there's a lot to enjoy here. You know, it's it's not meant to be taken seriously. There's good silly and there's bad silly. Die Another Day, bad silly, very bad silly. But Moonraker, no, you know, I think. Some of the haters should give it another chance, but who knows? Who knows what will happen? I mean, you know, On Her Majesty's Secret Service was a Bond movie that people didn't necessarily get on board with to begin with, probably because of Lazenby, but over time it's grown to have been sort of accepted and regarded as one of the best in the series, which is weird because a lot of people say it has the worst Bond, George Lazenby. Ooh, pretty tense.
Yeah, this is interesting when he accidentally poisons them. He gets like the serum and then they knock it over and he accidentally kills them. Like, it's poison.
Imagine George Lazenby in that scene. Oh, go, oh, dying, oh. Hello, darkness, my friend. Just come to fuck with you again. Ooh. All very tense. I still don't know this guy's name. Like, but this is a really good fight scene. I mean, you pick the worst
to make a lot of noise.
I mean, this guy has a stick. He's going to just destroy everything. Set the alarm. This is the worst fight.
It's a good fight.
Oh, yeah, it's a great fight.
I mean, I know it's sugar glass, but it must have hurt a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where Dying on the Day got the inspiration for fencing from.
Rex is the guy's sword.
I like that shot from his point of view inside of his mask. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually, yeah. There's some good shots in this film. This is a great Bond fight. I mean, in reality, if Bond got smashed through a glass display cabinet, he'd probably die. Because he's just wearing a shirt
Yeah.
and nothing underneath it. Well, that's thousands, if not millions of pounds down the drain.
Yeah. They bought it for that reason, just to shoot the fight, you know?
I was gonna say, we're already 46 minutes in.
Yeah, it's gone really quickly.
Yeah. There's not a scratch on Bond, no blood or anything, but it is a Bond movie after all.
Yeah. Well, they focus more in the newer films with Craig, making him more injured and more brutal, more beaten. You know?
Yeah. In the Connery and Moore films, he doesn't really have a scratch of blood on him. It's more in the Craig films where you see blood and scratches.
Yeah. Some of Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, License to Kill. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, Brosnan didn't get a scar on his little pretty face.
And we got strangled by the cat.
Yeah, this is it's quite an intense fight scene.
Yeah, I don't know this guy's name. Like, what's this henchman's name? Like, they never say his name.
I've got it.
He gives Nick Nack a run for his money.
This is a funny scene.
Bully!
You got this opera outside.
Get a lot of that in Venice. They like their opera.
Yeah.
The Italians love a good cry.
Oh shit!
Yeah. No, I love Italians. I love them people.
Play it again, Sam.
Play it again, Sam.
That's a reference to Casablanca. When the woman in that says to the guy on the piano, "Play it again, Sam."
You know, it's funny that they did a Looney Tunes parody of Casablanca.
Carrot Blanca.
Yeah, Carrot Blanca, I think they called it. Yeah, which is quite funny. Buzz Bunny was Casablanca.
Humphrey Bogart.
Ah, why did he make that noise? Like, what the hell? You know, he just went bah.
I think that could have been an editing mistake, like you know the double take pigeon that looks like a bit of an editing mistake. Like he may have accidentally added in the Chinese guy sound effect.
Maybe, yeah. It sounds like an editing mistake.
Yeah. I mean, John Glenn. To be honest, I think. I don't know if I would have had him as the director for the next Bond film. I think they should have got someone better as a director, because I think in the 80s, I think he's the longest Bond director. He did 5. He did all the films throughout the 80s, and I don't think he should have done every Bond film in the 80s. But...
I mean, you know, bless him, he did improve, I think, as he hit his stride. I think just with License to Kill, he went a bit too far, and I think he realised that when the box office takings showed. So I think, you know, he basically had to step down. He had no choice but to step down after that, because obviously there was a 6-year gap between.
I think he kind of overstayed his welcome, because he was the director for, if you think about it, 10 years. Because after Moonraker, he was the director until License to Kill, so about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah. Also, can we just say that Holly Goodhead looks smashing in that dress?
Wow.
I guess it's a night.
I like her hair that way.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, Goodhead.
She definitely reminds me of a young Lauren Bacall.
I think she's a beautiful girl. She's really pretty. I mean, she lacks a bit in the acting department, but she's a beauty.
Well, I mean, she's a brunette, and I prefer brunettes to blondes.
Wow. Rosamore likes to suck the air out of his women quite a lot.
like a vampire. I mean,
Where are you planning?
like when people say he's the Bond ladies man, I mean, I don't know why people complain about it. I mean, he's a handsome guy. Like, of course he's going to be a ladies man. Like,
I mean, even Richard Keel said it in an interview before he passed away. He said, he was definitely the smoothest. He had his way with the ladies. I think that he's the most charming of all the Bonds. I mean, it just sets him apart from the rest. He chose to take the character in a different direction, and I think it paid off.
And he's a very good-looking man. I mean, like the Saint, he was kind of like he became a bit of a heartthrob when he played the Saint, like when he was in his 30s or whatever. Like,
which is sad because that's kind of the reason why Pierce Brosnan was cast, because he was a pretty boy,
Roger Moore was good looking, but he also had the talent as well. He had the comedic timing, and he could also be serious when he needed to be, and he could do some of the action scenes as well. Like, he was, it wouldn't work with him being a ladies' man if he was, pug ugly or whatever. Like, it wouldn't work then. But
yeah, I mean, when you cast James Bond, you have to cast somebody who is good looking. Somebody who you think that women are going to find attractive.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gay or anything, but Daniel Craig, like, I asked my mum and stuff, and he's not a very good looking guy, but he is. But my mum said, like, he's not terribly attractive looking, but he is kind of like, he's in the room.
Yeah.
He's an alpha male. Like, he's may not be the
fit for his age. I mean, fucking hell, he's beefy.
I mean, my mum said it, like, my mum said it, and like a few other women I know have said it, like, he's not the best looking in terms of looks, but the reason why women are turned on is because he's an alpha male. Like, he's in the room. He's kind of a, he's kind of a macho man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a macho guy. He's a bit of a bad boy as well, if you think about it. He's like bad boy Bond, and he's a bit of a thug, but he does the charming stuff really well because he's able to charm the ladies quite well. I mean, look at Vesper. The way he charmed her. That isn't evidence enough.
It's interesting how they changed the. It's interesting. All wearing gas masks.
I sometimes find your sense of humor rather difficult to follow.
It's interesting how he changed the laboratory into this office so quickly. How did he do that within like a couple of weeks or a few days? I don't know how the fuck he did that.
Yeah, and then the minister's like, I've never been so humiliated.
I mean, it's interesting. The minister is only really there in the Roger Moore era. I think he disappears after A View to a Kill.
Actually, they do have the minister cameo in Quantum of Solace. There's a brief scene when M goes to talk to, I think it's either the minister or the secretary of defense, and they say, he says to her, "You've got to bring him in, or the Americans are going to deal with him."
Oh no, I think that's the minister. I think you're right, actually. Yeah.
I mean, it's a very tiny scene in Quantum of Solace. It's about sort of 2/3 of the way in.
Yeah,
but,
that's the one scene I will say to Alan that if he's rewatching Quantum of Solace, rewatch that scene again, because then you'll understand that M has to bring Bond in. She doesn't want to, but she has to, and that's why, like, when Bond escapes, she's kind of happy. But
yeah.
I mean, the sets are brilliant. I mean, look at that. Like, look at the luxury there. Like, the way they've got all these statues and the chandeliers and everything. It's beautiful.
Exactly. I mean, did Ken Adam do like an architecture course when he was younger? Because blimey, the guy's got talent.
I like this scene where Jaws goes through the metal detector and they find out that the metal is his teeth. Yeah. Like,
he's a big guy. I mean, he's like 7 foot. He's a huge guy. I mean,
I guess if they ask him, they could just say it's his braces, or he has to have metal teeth, like he lost all his teeth.
I love the music.
Just like the Moonraker knows.
What a great suit. I'd never realised Roger Moore wore the white tux in this film. I'd forgotten about that. He wears it.
I think Brosnan kind of copied his look, the shirt with the white tux.
Well, that wasn't really him. That was the costume designers in those films. But
Yeah.
Roger Moore just wears the suit like a glove. You know. Now he's in Rio, Rio de Janeiro.
I'd say he might be the best dressed of all the Bonds, like the amount of suits he has and like the way he kind of wears them. Like,
I think with Sean Connery, they tended to go. Obviously, when he wasn't wearing the suit, he tended to go a lot more for like sort of shorts and polo shirts.
yeah,
I mean, Roger Moore was always sort of dressed as a gentleman, if you like.
he looks a lot sharper in suits because Connery is more of a muscular guy. He doesn't look as good in suits.
I like this as well. This hotel room. I mean, he always gets the fanciest hotel rooms, and he gets
presidential. It's a presidential suite.
Wow. He gets this woman. You know, how'd you kill 5 hours in Rio if you don't stand up?
Oh, I mean, he gets a lot of babes in this film.
I think it would be great for some future Bond movies to go to Rio. I think going back to Rio would be good.
Yeah. I know. Do you remember the Simpsons episode where Homer gets kidnapped in Rio in Brazil?
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Can you imagine if like Bond was captured, like these guys were keeping him hostage, and it's like, give us the money. He's like, look at all our money. It's all pink and purple. Our money is so gay. That made me laugh. And when Homer's got the photo album of him and the kidnappers.
My goodness me, Bond has his way with the ladies. How the...
Oh. I mean, now with the Me Too movement, this might be seen as sexual harassment or sexual assault.
Yeah, so it's very hard now for the Bond movies to get away with this. But, I mean, I think with the recent films, they've managed to sort of keep it fairly tame. I mean, the Inspector, they had Monica Bellucci and Daniel Craig having quite a steamy scene against the mirror. But you could tell why he was doing that. He wanted information.
Look at these festivals, it's brilliant. Like the
Yeah,
festivals
as long as
and
it's
all that.
consensual, it's fine. You know, Bond. As long as the girl consents to having sex with Bond, there's no problem. And
I mean, that's the thing. Like with the Me Too, the Me Too movement. Like, how is putting like a hand on a girl's knee in a nightclub? You know, like yeah, when you just met her and like you're into her. Like, how is that like sexual assault? I mean, it's not rape or anything, and it's like. It's like, do you really need like a written, document to say like I've had sex with this woman? Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, nobody does that. Nobody has sex with someone else. No one has sex with someone else and like says, "Oh right, can you write down a contract to say that I had sex with you, just in case you ever try and sue me in court?" It's ridiculous. Like,
anyway, moving back to the film, I think maybe this Bond girl is kind of one Bond girl too many. I don't think we needed her. No, she's okay.
Yeah, I mean, we already had the French one earlier.
Yeah, Karine, and I mean she's dead now, but still.
Cabana. It's kind of funny that Jaws is in this outfit. I mean, it's kind of sinister, like this alley shot, him walking up the alley with that costume on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Thunderball, I think, has more Bond girls than it knows how to deal with. I mean, it has more than this. I mean, this is like 3 Bond girls.
Yeah.
Still,
Thunderball's probably going to be the last one I want to commentate on, just because of how slow it is.
Oh, yeah, that one's going to be short to get through.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's kind of funny, like that outfit, the clown outfit that Jaws is wearing. It kind of reminds me of Pennywise from It. So, like,
yeah. Hello, Georgie. The new It film is really good.
Come on, you're too old to stop me. You're all too old.
I mean, isn't Bill Skarsgård the son of Stellan Skarsgård?
Yeah. Oh God, Mamma Mia.
I hope you enjoy the second film.
I mean, some people complain about Jaws in this. I prefer him in The Spy Loved Me, but I still think he's good in Moonraker. I mean, he's still quite sinister. It's only towards the end he becomes the good guy. Only at the very end, when Drax says he's going to kill all the ones that are imperfect. And Jaws is imperfect. I mean, he's not a very attractive guy. He's got these false, he's got these metallic teeth. Like, of course he's not going to survive long in Drax's perfect world. So that's why he becomes, you know, a good guy at the end and helps Bond. Like,
yeah. Ghost, you will obey me.
it's kind of funny, like when the party's coming around and like they're trying to, like he's pretending to dance with her, like when they're going past, like he's trying to bite her, but like.
Roger Moore's tux there. I mean, wow, he looks pretty dapper.
Yeah.
Very smart. Look at him.
I think that in Spy Love Me as well. I kind of like the way Jaws is taken away into the crowd. Like the crowd takes him away.
Like when you think there's going to be a fight scene. No such luck.
He's taken away in the crowd. He's trying to get to Bond, but the party crowd is taking him away.
That girl is pretty sexy.
Yeah. The Brazilians do know how to party. That's all I'll say. Like,
well, how'd you kill 5,000 Rio if you don't sample?
If I could walk with the animals, talk with the animals.
Fuck the animals.
Simon Templar.
Wow.
I find it weird these people in animal outfits playing trumpets. I mean, I guess that's what they do in Rio, but
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parades and festivals.
I love the product placement in this, like 7-Up and British Airways later. Like, we'll take care of you. Like,
personally, yeah, I love the girls in the bikinis. You know, I think that's a nice sight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 10 out of 10 on the visuals in this film. Actually, that's what I have to say when it comes to Bond films. The sexy girls, they're always the best in terms of visuals.
Yeah, I mean, people, women are a huge part of the Bond series. I mean, yes, they're objectified in this series, but
who cares? For fuck's sake,
who cares? At the end of the day, we've had a lot of strong female characters in this series already over the 24.
It's like films. Not only that, but like, it's like you can't tell me that Bond isn't objectified. I mean, like, look at Daniel Craig in Casino Royale when he comes out of the water. You're telling me they don't objectify Bond either? It's like, I mean, that's the thing with the Bond franchise. Like, it's good eye candy for the guys in terms of the Bond girls, and it's good eye candy for the girls in terms of Bond himself. Like,
yeah, obviously in the early days, yes, different times. We weren't as politically equal as we are now. I mean, in terms of like the way women were treated. Yes, Connery did sort of slap them about a bit. But, all the characters in the Bond, all the female characters have a purpose. They're not just there. There are a few there just for Bond to have sex with, but a lot of them do actually contribute to the films they're in, and they do play a huge part in the stories.
I mean, it's the same with the companions in Doctor Who. I mean, not all the companions in Doctor Who scream. Like, a lot of them are quite intelligent, like Martha Jones and Rose and Romana and Sarah Jane and stuff like that. I mean. And Barbara, it's the same with Doctor Who, but like I wish they don't reverse the formula with Bond, like make it a Bond woman and a Bond man. Like, please, fuck no, like I don't want that.
Yeah.
No.
So people shouldn't neglect Judi Dench, who was M for 7 Bond movies. She was a great female character, brief character, yes, but great.
I mean, they're even talking about Idris Elba's Bond now and a black Bond, and to be honest, I'd rather have a black Bond than a female Bond, but I don't want a black Bond either. I'm sorry, but that's just not how the character is written. Like, if these characters were written as white, straight men, then keep them that way. If you want a black hero, that's fine. If you want a female hero, that's fine. Just don't turn established male characters into females or black characters just for the sake of being politically correct. Like, nobody likes that shit. Nobody.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think that Idris Elba will be cast. I think that's just a huge load of BS, to be honest. But I don't even think he thinks he'll be cast. But I don't think he wants to play it anyway. But
he's too old now. He's in his mid-40s, I think.
Too old.
He's 40. He's 45 or 46. Like, I think. I think he's too old for the part.
The thought had occurred to me. Hang on, James.
I mean, if you're going to get a replacement for Daniel...
Why don't we just enjoy Daniel Craig? You know, he's got one more movie left. Why don't we just enjoy him? Yes, his comments in the press 3 years ago were derogatory and, you know, a little bit, you know, out of character. But, you know, I mean, allowed one more Bond film, you know, let him have his last go, and then you could talk about a new one.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's like, I mean, we know he's got one last film, but it's like, you know, after that... Instead of talking after the next Bond film when Craig leaves, instead of talking about a black Bond or a female Bond, why not just cast Tom Hardy for fuck's sake, you know, after Daniel Craig leaves? I mean, I'd rather have him than a black or a female Bond. Like, please, you know, for God's sake.
Yeah. I don't know if Tom Hardy's the right choice, to be honest. He's a good actor, but I think he's done too many other things. Plus, he's been cast as Venom, so it would be hard to see him as James Bond, I think. I mean, he was Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, and now he's Venom, and he's done a lot of things. I mean, if he gets cast, fair enough. I'll give him a chance, but I personally think they should go with an unknown guy.
Yeah, I just don't want a black or a female Bond, and that's not being racist or sexist. It's just because the character is a white, straight English male, you know.
Yeah. You know, I know people say, you know, move with the times and everything. I'm okay with that, but it's when you have a pre-established character.
Just for the sake of being PC, like,
yeah.
How many times have they done this PC shit, and how many people are getting sick of it? Like Ghostbusters, Ocean's 8, Doctor Who, like all these things are just doing it to be politically correct, and like nobody wants it.
Yeah,
I will say I do.
Woman, I'm out. I'm sorry, I can't. I can't deal with that. It's not right.
I mean, going back to the film though, I think this is a really great fight scene. Yeah, ski lift and the quite good when he gets to the chain and he zips down it. Like the fight with Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, yes, the back projection is a little bit dated, but it's still pretty good for what it is. It's impressive. It's amazing that Jaws never actually speaks until the very end of the film with his girlfriend. Dolly, I think her name is. 1 hour, 9 minutes. I've watched it for quite a bit. That's hilarious. The 7-Up thing. Oh dear. What a way to slam product placement. I mean, that was the 7-Up logo all those years ago. Oh, for shame. This is where it gets a bit silly. Yeah, this girl, random girl called Dolly, happens to be there and saves his life. What? I think it's the music and the way they look at each other. It's so cheesy. I think that is a little bit that is a bit silly. I can't deny. Oh gosh. Ooh. Goodnight has given into his charms. And those people just take them away. Oh dear, Jack's gone. I think his connection's fucked up again. But unfortunately, he has bad Wi-Fi where he is. This is interesting how they have to seduce this guy to try and break free. Bond just wings at the guy. Never see any of the others doing that. Sorry about that. Bless Bond, he really does try and put up a good fight. I like this little fight scene. Oh! They pulled his hair out. We'll take more care of you, British Airways. Oh dear, that is quite. Oh, that is quite a bold piece of product placement. This is an interesting scene. We sort of have a Q branch sort of scene.
I'm back. Sorry, my fucking Wi-Fi. Oh.
That's all right.
Are you in the cowboy scene?
Yeah, the cowboy scene. Interesting. You missed earlier Jaws's thing with Dolly, the girl, how they meet and fall in love at first sight, which is a little bit cheesy.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Like when he was riding on the horse. It's the Magnificent Seven theme. It's a Magnificent Seven cowboy western theme.
So this is James Bond meets Magnificent Seven meets Star Wars.
I mean, he looks like Clint Eastwood with that poncho and hat.
Kind of a mix of genres. It's amazing. Like, where did he find that? Like,
he looks like Clint Eastwood with that poncho.
Yeah, like Sergio Leone's film crew somewhere around in this set.
The good, the bad, and the ugly of the James Bond franchise. It's funny that it's like they got this monastery of monks trained.
Possibly the mad, the bald, and the ugly. Jack! No! Not again! Silly connections. This is where we sort of seen the Star Wars coming into this with the light that melt people's faces. That melting precursor to Raiders of the Lost Ark. I believe the next one, I think. But yeah, it's quite a cool. I think the really impressive for the time. Listening that. I mean, Moonraker is definitely known for its spectacle more than anything else. 1 hour. It's pretty well paced. Dropping out unexpectedly. It's his wife, I think. Personal. So no, this is along. I think for what it is. This is a nice. I think I agree with Jack on this one. The cinematography is, and I really like all these shots in the jungle. This almost reminds me a little bit of stuff. 8 years before this. No, actually, no, not 8 years before this. 6 years. This was 79. And that was 3. We have the second film, which is a bit more, I think, a bit more chase. Scene, big pigeon, unfortunately. That was good. Now, this one is much more of a sophisticated piece. The mind inject. Oh, nice explosion. Huh, this is there. Love that. John Barry. Very good. He knows. Much more of an explosive action sequence than the earlier one. By Lewis Gilbert is pretty solid. I mean, the film is Ash of the Spy Who Loved Me. The story is pretty much, well, the premise is, but both the films are kind of executed in a different way. Who Loved Me is a better film, but I think Moonraker is slightly more fun, I guess I could say. And it has a better, but I do think The Spy Who Loved Me is it's like my top 3. It's like one of the best ever. It's so good. Nice model shot over the waterfall. It's a shame. Obviously, back projection is so old now and it's a bit dated. But of George's reaction as they fall into the. I think Die Another Day ripped off that volcano waterfall shot of the boat going over. Ripped that off as well, and that was and in that film it was very obvious that it was that model shot. Had a rather soft landing, Mr. Bond. Fun film. I certainly enjoy Moonraker if you don't take it too seriously. Well, it's unfortunate that Jack's gone, but hopefully he'll come back soon. I don't want him to miss half the commentary. It's a shame. Wow, that set is beautiful. Set. Ken Adam, absolute genius. I cannot fault you. That bridge, that metal bridge, almost reminds me of. It wasn't a metal bridge, but they had a bridge in Blofeld's lair. In it was nice to kind of, I guess, Drax is kind of inspired by Blofeld. Not that they've ever met, but there's similarities within them. These girls are drop dead gorgeous. I mean, I bet these people were very difficult to cast because essentially you're supermodels. Really, they're people who have to be almost essentially what society would call perfect. You know, they've got to have the right figure. They've got to look pretty. They've got to look sexy, which they are. Which is lucky. This is an interesting fight scene when a snake slithers. Ooh! But it's very well shot. Underwater stuff is quite well. Really looks very nice. I mean, obviously, with Thunderball didn't really do the underwater fighting as well as it could have done, but still, this is a really tense, and they're all just looking down at him, and you know, the snake off for himself. I'm not sure. Ugh. Guess who? It's Jaws. Also, rest in peace, Richard Keel. Sadly passed away a few years ago. He's definitely one of the best Bond henchmen, in my opinion. He's a very unique character, very big and tall. I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, certainly make him very unique. I'm going to see if Jack is. This is where the film goes into kind of space. We're about to fly into space. You know, we get to the essentially kind of the landing base and then station later. But yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that the Bond filmmakers felt that Nessol turned out to be a huge success and the greatest movie of all time. You know, it was so good and it just blew people away. So I think, you know, to keep, we thought, oh, we have to do something like that to keep people James Bond and keep the series going. And I think we what it does, but some people hate it. You know, it's fair enough down there. But I think give it another chance into the real. Generally speaking, it seems to get a mixed response across the board. Yeah, there are worse. There are much worse than movies. I think Moonraker is fun. One film? No. It's the worst. I don't think it is. I genuinely don't think it is. The rockets. I'm yawning. I never thought I'd have to do an audio commentary. Jack, come back. God, how many shutters does he have? Huh. James. Oh, that sounds like Jack. Yay! Yay!
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so pissed off at my fucking Wi-Fi. Fuck you, Sky. I mean, they're going up into the sky. They're going up into the sky, and I say the sky's the limit for this film, but not for that fucking broadband provider.
Yeah. A lot, but you're better off using your mobile data.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any credit. Ugh.
Oh well.
I was gonna say, this is. I think the sets are great here. Like, it's a good speech that Drax gives, and I did talking about the scenes I missed before. I liked the scene with the boat chase. That was really good, and the Bond music. You know, the doom, doom, doom. And I also liked when Bond is taken out of the water with the snakes, and he's with Jaws, and Drax is giving the speech about the flower. So I caught up with the scenes that I missed, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm on 29.
Yeah, I know. Are you on the scene where the rocket's about to take off with them in the room underneath it?
Yeah, he's just using the watch to basically get so they don't get burned.
Yeah, I'm on that scene as well. But the sets are great, like the way they've recreated these like rockets that NASA used and all that. It's incredible.
Bang on top.
Yeah, the humor's really good. Do you like the speech he gives?
Yeah, the speech is great. That reminds me, when he does the watch thing. When Q said on the inspector, when he says to Q, it tells the time.
Actually, it reminds me of the scene, like, Inspector, the way he's talking about the floor in Moonraker. The scene Inspector where he's talking about the meteorite, that kind of reminds me of him talking about the floor in Moonraker, Drax.
Maybe there's a sort of, Inspector was like actually looked through all the old and had a look to see which ones they could homage.
Yeah. I might just change to Vodafone because I heard they're much better than Sky, so I might do that this month or
yeah.
Sky
is shit. Years ago, they're awful.
I used to have BT until February, March this year. And BT were great. I never had any problems with BT. I had no connection issues. Very rarely did I have connection issues.
Yeah, probably the best ones to go for.
Yeah. I heard Vodafone are very good, and they're quite cheap, so I think I'll go for them and see if I could fix a Wi-Fi issue because it's just the pain in my bloody arse.
Cool.
Fuck.
Because
She definitely gave him, or definitely.
I love all of. I mean, yeah, this was into the Star Wars space mode, but I think it looks great. I mean, it looks so good to look at, and all of the design is terrific. I Oscar-worthy work from Ken Adam.
Yeah. I mean, people say it's kind of stupid that Bond goes into space, but if you think about it, and You Only Live Twice, when Connery's about.
Oh no. He's gone. He's gone. Yeah, I think what You Only Live Twice was the fact that essentially Blofeld was trying to send the rocket up into space. They've already, and actually, funny, that film was also directed by Lewis Gilbert. But yeah, so they were heading into the sort of spacey direction. But no, this is where they sort of actually, they do say, oh, let's take James Bond into space. This idea would work now, especially with Daniel Craig. I think it would work with a new Bond, maybe, but even then, I think this time with Roger.
Oh, Moonraker 5.
Oh, you're back. Your connection gone again.
I did briefly, but I fixed it.
Ugh. I'm sorry for you, man.
If I could get my hands on the owner of Sky, Richard Branson, I'd kick his fucking arse. No, sorry, Rupert Murdoch. He owns Sky. Richard Branson's Virgin Media. No, they're in space.
Basically got half coming to sort of the film now.
Imagine they saw the TARDIS in space.
Love, yeah. 7th been Tom Baker.
Yeah, Tom Baker would have been a doctor.
Would you like a jelly baby?
They just see the Daleks.
How do you like your?
It's actually fun.
Oh no. Oh, he's still here. Jack? Hello? And earlier it's how Drax wants to create this kind of this pure race. I wanted to create the Aryan race, and like the world population to almost which is interesting, and I think it's an idea that people would, I suppose they would probably consider, but the most good, he thinks that it takes the most good-looking, the most physically, do it, and the most people, and forcefully, or to have them, have sex and then reproduce. So the one, as he says, but I mean, it's certainly an interesting plot. The Spy Who Loved Me did similar. Still, it doesn't stop Moonraker from being a fun, entertaining film. I mean, it's like pure Star Wars,
This is a good scene. The model work is great, I have to say, and I love the soundtrack here, like the dun, 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 like, and it is cool, like them going into space. I mean, funnily enough, talking about Roger Moore and Tom Baker, it's funny because Roger Moore took over in '73, and he was the longest-serving Bond, and Tom Baker took over in '74, and he was the longest-serving Doctor. So It's kind of funny that you got the longest serving Bond and Doctor during the mid to late 70s and early 80s.
Yeah, that's true. Or the sort of the mid 80s, I think.
And if you think about it, Roger Moore played Bond in 7 films, so that's 7 years as Bond, but 12 years overall because of the gaps. And and Tom Baker played the Doctor 7 years and 7 seasons, so they both technically played the Doctor and Bond for 7 years each. Well,
It's ironic.
no, I think the model work is really good though, and I do think it's quite cool when they actually go into space. I mean, I agree with you. I couldn't see Craig in this, but unfortunately, they put Daniel Craig in Moonraker and 007 Legends, the video game.
Well, I mean, the model of Daniel Craig, but with a Daniel Craig impression, which was awful.
I mean, of all the Daniel Craig, what?
Yeah, it plus they changed Holly Goodhead's design in the game, which was awful. Just awful. Interesting harness work.
G-Force.
Yeah, I want just slow in production.
Could you actually have? Yeah. Could you imagine if they actually did go into space? If you could actually go into space, it would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, it takes much out than it would used to, but you know, it would be an amazing to go. I mean, it depends how far you want to travel, I suppose.
I'm actually surprised man hasn't gone back to the moon or space since the 70s. They kind of gave up after the space race was over, which is a shame because I think they would get a lot of viewers now if they had another moon landing. Probably get billions watching it if they had another moon landing or if they went into space again.
Yeah, maybe someone will attempt it again. I mean, you know, Neil Armstrong, you know, made a massive achievement. Will go. Who knows?
Well, there's some people who believe man didn't land on the moon. They think it was staged in a studio by Stanley Kubrick, which I'm sorry, but that's bullshit.
No.
I mean, I can kind of see why people thought the moon landing was staged by Stanley Kubrick because of 2001 and the special effects and stuff in that, but I'm pretty confident man landed on the moon.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, we you know, when Neil Armstrong from that than we did before he did that, we wouldn't have known as much.
I mean, the only one left alive, I think, now is Buzz Aldrin.
Yes, yeah, fortunately.
To infinity and beyond.
Buzz Lightyear. Inspiration for Buzz Lightyear.
I think they got the name Buzz from Buzz Aldrin.
Oh, Jaws.
Imagine if Jaws' theme was dun 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 dun.
They should have Spielberg to the that music.
I mean, talking about his girlfriend Dolly, I forgot to mention that scene earlier when they fall in love.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people talk about the Mandela. Oh Christ!
Ooh. Yeah, Yeah, sorry, Lois. Not quite feeling the acting there. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa. Gravity. 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 Oh, beside you going down. Come on. Gravity. With your go on. Gravity. That is impressive. I mean, obviously, on a Space Odyssey was kind of it's the movie that kind of set the standard for it's so impressive for what it did. There was no way this was going to be anything near that great. I mean, they clearly. I mean, Adam, the Bond series would have been a very dull series.
This is a good fight scene.
Oh, he's back! He's back, baby!
The Empire Strikes Back, bitch!
Yeah, I was just saying, it's funny how, like, in terms of design, the Bory 2001 movie that set the standard for the design, and I think Ken Adam, I mean, obviously with this film, he really did try, but obviously it's never going to be 2000. You know, that's understandable. Impressive.
I think it was also inspired by Star Wars and, of course, Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which came out this year as well, same year.
Yeah. Well, not a lot of people consider Star Trek: The Motion Picture to be any good.
I think the motion picture kind of copies 2001 in a lot of ways, like with the kind of visuals and stuff. But I like the motion picture. I don't get the hate for it.
Yeah, I'm slow, but it was decent.
There he is, General Gogard.
This. Oh no! Actually, we see him in the previous film, don't we? Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah, he's in all the Roger Moore Bond films.
Really?
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. All of them from The Spy Loved Me onwards. Globe number 1. If you think about it, there's 24 Bond films, so I guess you could say Roger Moore's in a third of the series.
He's the. Yeah. But Bond actor, you want to sort of count Lazenby as the second.
Yeah. Hit him in the bollocks.
Junk. Did you know 007?
Sorry?
You know 007 Legendary? Annoying, especially when you have to fight.
Yeah. I mean, talking about Jaws, like, does he have a steel bollocks? Because like there was a steel sound when Bond hit his balls.
Yeah, metal junk.
Could you imagine if Paul arrived? That's my junk, asshole.
Yeah. Well, here's the junk.
Get your hands off of my junk.
Yeah. Oh god, that scene in the film Paul. He says, "Get your goddamn hands off my motherfucking junk."
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Makes me laugh. That's a funny.
I'll have to review that someday.
Yeah, and I should review it as well. Well,
It kind of to me, Paul. Even though it isn't part of the Cornetto trilogy, I kind of consider it as part of those films. Like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. Still, I think it's a great film. I think it's funny. It's good. It's a real fun road trip movie.
Speaking of the Cornetto trilogy, I'm actually eating a Cornetto at the moment.
Nice. Oh, Cornetto.
Strawberry one.
Literally about film left. This film has gone quickly. I think the story of this film, even though it's a rehash, it does have more merit than the story dies, and the world's not enough.
I'll say the plot here is better than the plot for Your Eyes Only. Oh God.
Yeah, the next film. Ooh, I hate this film because it brings Bond back to Earth and it's more serious and well, it is and it isn't. It's still got that sort of Roger Moore. They do try and make, but yeah, maybe it doesn't quite work.
I think it's too serious for a Roger Moore Bond film, and like it's just, and because of that, it's just. Kind of. What?
Oh, I thought your connection was going.
I was going to say it's kind of interesting in this that Bond, you know, he hints to Jaws that there might, Drax is trying to create this perfect world, and he's trying to, tell Jaws, Bond's trying to tell, Bond's trying to tell Jaws that he might not have a future in Drax's perfect world. He's like, expel them!
Yeah. Jaws, you obey me. I like Jaws. It works very well actually for this film.
I think his turning into a good guy makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. I think it works better in A View to a Kill with Mayday, but still, for what it is, it's pretty good.
I mean, I do like Michael Lonsdale when he's like, expel them.
Expel them.
Imagine he was the headmaster. Expel them.
You are expelled from witchcraft and wizardry.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Mighty climax.
You imagine Bond. I can fly. I can fly.
Peter Pan. Yeah. Books and pixie dust.
I'm like a bird. I'm like a seagull. I can fly. Fly, my pretty.
Fly away, my pretty. Like a bird. You know what? I'll take this space battle over the Thunderbolt any day of the week. Because that end fight fucking sucks. Sorry, Thunderbolt fans, but this is a thousand than that fucking underwater fight in Thunderbolt. Would you there? The film is very impressive for the time it came out. I mean, are very again, this is better than the underwater fight in Thunderbolt. Loud, said proud. You know, that's my opinion. Oh, Jack, you there? I was fucked up again. Oh,
All I'll say about the underwater fight in Moonraker, all I'll say about the space fight in Moonraker, at least it's not boring like the underwater fight in Thor.
yeah. Did you not get that? Oh, your connection must have. Oh, never mind.
Astronauts.
Set. They must have spent millions on this film. I mean, look at it. You're hard pressed to say that it's very impressive. Don't shoot. This is pretty awesome. You get actually how we did this climax. Yes, okay. Maybe it's a bit ridiculous with all the laser guns. Just embrace the fun of it, you know. Just have fun with it, because at the end of the day, that's all it's meant to be. Be serious.
I do like this final fight.
Yeah, I mean, if you can call it a fight, really, confrontation.
Yeah. I mean, if you like Star Wars and you like sci-fi, then you're gonna like Moonraker. Like, if you're a Bond fan as well.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit ridiculous. That's part of the fun of it, you know.
Drax. Take a giant step for mankind. I mean, any other Bond, these lines wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. I mean, I can't imagine Daniel Craig ever saying those lines.
You had to fly. I mean, I wonder if Drax's body is still circling the Earth in James Bond verse.
Maybe. I mean, eventually he would probably die because of oxygen. You know?
No, but I wonder if his dead body is still circling the Earth, or it's like is somewhere in space in the Bond universe.
Until you know.
Imagine if Bond went back into space.
Yeah, I can't imagine it for the. I think for this one and only time it works. Roger Moore. I think if they'd done it, it would have been even worse. I don't think it could.
Yeah, with Craig, it would not have worked. Or with Connery.
Play it again, Sam.
I know Connery didn't like Moonraker. He's like, oh, it was totally devoid of any reality. It's like, come on, lighten up. Just a bit of fun for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Then, you know, great films.
His Bond was just a parody.
Some of Connery's Bond films, that's silly. I mean, you know, his last one were a bit more lighter. I mean, Diamonds Are Forever is is quite sillier than this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Diamonds Are Forever is just silly.
Mediocre. Jaws' station.
Some people say the next Bond film, For Your Eyes Only, is Roger Moore's best. I really don't see it, to be honest. I really don't get how it's his best Bond film. It's so forgettable.
Ugh, this is a little bit cheesy. I mean, just the feet movements in time with the music, just it's just very corny. They didn't need to
Beauty and the Beast.
And they just happened to find the lying on the floor. Really.
You know the way she's good looking, and you know the way she's good looking, and he's kind of a monster. Can you imagine they start playing Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah. Well, here's to us. I like the line that says in the Bond series. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Apparently, Jaws was supposed to return in For Your Eyes Only, but because he wanted to make it more down to earth, he didn't return. Sadly.
I don't think it would have worked that time. Yeah.
I think he could have worked For Your Eyes Only, but they just decided not to bring him back, which I would have liked him back, but I suppose he became a good guy in this film anyway, so you couldn't really have him as a bad guy in the next one.
Yeah. He would have Bond in the next film if he was in it.
Yeah, I mean, what was he going to do? Like, you know, become a bad guy again, like settle down this girl, be like, oh, see you later, honey, I'm just going to go off to kill Bond. Had my tea in the table before 6.
It's kind of nice in a way. It's sort of kind of chooses to spend his last moments with his girlfriend, and sort of essentially they stay behind to let Bond go.
They say at the end of the film, though, that they didn't die.
Hard to believe, to be honest.
No.
That confirms that, really.
No. You missed a bit there. There was like a circular bit of it that went off into space.
Oh, right. Okay.
They weren't on the main part of the main. They weren't on the main part of the space station that blown up. They were on the part that was separated from it, that went into space, that didn't blow up. I like the music here. It's pretty good. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, to me, this kind of rips off the ending of A New Hope. Like, you know, where he's trying to shoot the Death Star. You know, it's like he has to use the piloting. He has to use the equipment, and it's like, oh, don't use it. Use the Force, and then he has to do this manually.
Yeah. In his review, sort of edited clips that scene in Star Wars with this.
Yeah. Use the Force, Bond. Can you imagine Darth Vader coming after Bond? I have you now.
Have you now, Mr. Bond?
Use the Force.
Oh, Lois, your acting is really not good.
The Force will be with you, Bond, always. Han Solo just arrives in the Millennium Falcon to blow it up. Come on, kid, let's hit this last one before you...
Go on. Take the bloody shot. Dun, dun, dun. This is why people hate on it. I've seen much not that bad at all.
I've seen much worse Bond films.
I mean, yes, I've seen better as well, being ridiculous in places, but it doesn't mean it's bad, you know.
It kicks the shit out of any of the Brosnan ones for me. It's better than License to Kill. I say it's better than Quantum, better than Thunderball. So yeah, it's nowhere near as bad as people make out.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's one of Roger Bond movies. I don't think it's his best Bond movie, but it's very good. It's pretty solid.
Well, it's keeping the British end up, sir.
The film. This is a little bit. Just take me around the world one more time. Roger.
Well, he's playing with his Jolly Roger, that's all I'll say.
Of course, they have to have sex in space.
Sex and drugs and rock and roll.
Andy Serkis.
Actually, I was in the park today, and there's this thing called Punk in the Park, and they played that. Sex and drugs and rock and roll in the park. It's all my brain and body needs.
Is it a?
Moonlight go.
Bye. Take me around the world one more time.
Why not? I kind of like this disco theme of Moonraker at the end.
Where are you? You are. Oh, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's that leads to your sword.
Sir.
I kind of like the Star credits. Well, they don't use the same font, but they've got sort of the light blue. I mean, yes, the film is. It has problems, and it has silly moments, yes, but underneath it all, it is a fundamentally fun Bond movie, and
it's not meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's so much fun.
And like you said, it's not meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah, I think Roger Moore is held it. I still think his best Love Me, but still, his performance here is a bit. I do think Lois is a bit weak in the acting department, but you know she's good.
It's funny, Alan thinks Roger Moore here is better than Roger Moore in Spy Love Me. He says Roger Moore goes back to being Wooden in Spy Love Me. I have to completely disagree. I think that's his best performance. I don't see how Alan thinks he's Wooden in that film, but
yeah, I mean, I think Roger Moore remained very consistent as James Bond. He never really lost that sort of charm, the undeniable charm he had with this with the character. I mean, it's essentially a rehash. Spy Love Me.
there it is.
But
James Bond will return for your eyes, only this time it will.
yes, I think they're pretty well, and it's just fun. The action is great. Yes, the double take pigeon is a fucking insult. It's just disgraceful. You should never have left it in the film.
Or blame John Glenn for that.
Yeah. I mean, Lewis Gilbert, the music is good by John Barry, by Shirley Bassey. But I've heard worse. But it's not great at all. I'm not a
John
fan
is
of
dying another day.
I mean, obviously it's better than that, but the is incredible. The stunt work that goes into that it is fantastic. So, I mean, there is a lot to love about Moonraker. I mean, Kareem wasn't necessary. There was, those other didn't really add much to the story, but they were good to them. I mean, I scored Moonraker an 8 out of 10. I think it's good fun. Yes, it gets a bit some places, but it's good silly. There's self-referential awareness. It knows what it is, and it has fun with it. Either, like you said, Jack, it's the Marmite Bond movie. You're either going to love it, and I, for one, really like it. I don't think it's perfect by any means. I have problems with it, but fun to pick it on and have a great week. Yeah, it's a thumbs up from me.
I mean, yeah, it's the same with me. I mean, overall, my thoughts on the movie. I mean, I think it's a really good movie. I don't think it deserves the hate some people get. I can understand why, because it is, definitely not the most down-to-earth Bond film. It is quite ridiculous and silly, but that's kind of the charm of it. That's the charm of Moonraker, to me anyway, is that it's it's just a fun, silly Bond film. And people complain about Bond going into space. It's only the last quarter of the film where he's in space. The first hour and a half, the first 3/4 of the movie is spent on Earth. So it's only the last half hour of the movie which is in space. And I think it's paced incredibly well. I think the characters are all good. It's nice to see the return of Jaws. I mean, maybe it is a bit silly with his girlfriend, but I think the humor's good. Like, the scene with the peasants, like, oh, you missed Mr. Bond, did I? And, heartbroken Mr. Jackson. I think the humor's fun. It's funny and it's good silly, like you said. Like Gallon said as well, it's good silly. It's not bad silly like Die Another Day or Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah. And it knows it. I mean, it's not a masterpiece, by any stretch, but it's it knows what it is. It's not pretending to be serious. It's not trying to be serious about the whole situation. It knows it's silly, and it runs with it.
Yeah. And obviously, it knows that it's but why not make that something fun and not serious? I mean, at the time it was the right time to make, because
and I think it was the highest grossing Bond film until GoldenEye in 1995. So I mean, obviously,
I thought Thunderbird grossed a lot though, didn't it? I thought the Skyfall. Or are you talking in terms of Roger Moore?
Yeah, but this film, it's the highest grossing Roger Moore film, and up until this point, if you don't adjust it for inflation, because it was released during the era of sci-fi, like Star Wars, it made the most money until GoldenEye, and then of course Skyfall's made the most out of all the Bond films. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also about Jaws' girlfriend. I mean, Jaws, Richard Keel, obviously, he appeared in The Spy Who Loved Me as well. I think he's a great henchman. I think it'd be very hard to top him. I think he's probably the best henchman, if not one of the best. I think both his appearances are great. Although this one, they obviously change his character a little bit. I mean, the whole girlfriend thing is a bit cheesy. Just kind of comes out of nowhere, but it's nice. He ends up turning good, and he finds a girlfriend, and he ends up being happy. So that's nice. We see that this guy, he's not just a thug. He does actually have some some soul and heart, and he turns into a nice guy, which I like, which is good. I mean, but yeah, I think it's Moonraker could rank as probably one of the most fun, if not the most fun, Bond movie.
Yeah, I think it might be the most fun just because of how silly and jokey it is. And like I said, it's not bad because of that. It's not trying to be serious. It's not trying to be like, oh look, we're being really serious about Bond going into space. Look, he's in outer space with a laser gun. Like, we're being really serious about that. It's like, no, it's it's just having fun and it's just going with the flow. It's just having fun with that. And
Yeah.
And to me, like, I'd probably give it the same rating as you, an 8 out of 10. And if I were to rank it, I'd say it might be my fourth favorite Roger Moore film, and I might just place it just outside the top 10 at maybe 11 or 12. Like, so
yeah. I mean, it's almost there. I mean, we really like it. I mean, if you hate the movie, okay, fair enough. do tell us why. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. But if you, I would seriously recommend you giving it another watch. Give it a chance. You might actually enjoy yourself.
I mean, I will say as well is it kicks the shit out of the next film For Your Eyes Only. At least it's memorable. It's a memorable, funny Bond film, unlike For Your Eyes Only, which is so dull and forgettable.
Yeah.
Got forgettable villains, forgettable henchmen, forgettable
title song.
Yeah, forgettable action scenes. I mean, there are a few good action scenes, but it's a pretty forgettable movie, unlike Moonraker, which Moonraker is much better in my opinion. Like, some people hate Moonraker and love For Your Eyes Only and say it's the best Roger Moore Bond film. I really don't see how For Your Eyes Only is the best Roger Moore Bond film. I think it's the worst, to be honest.
For Your Eyes Only, yeah, I have to agree. It's my least favorite Roger Moore Bond movie. I don't know why. Maybe I just can't get into it. It's just kind of, like you say, dull, and it's just okay. It's all right, but
it's forgettable as well, like the villains and all that.
Yeah, I mean, there are things about it I like. Don't get me wrong. There are things about it I like and things I really like. I mean, Roger Moore as always, does a great job, and I think at the time it was intended to be his last one, so maybe that's why they took it more seriously. And also after Moonraker's mixed reception, should we say? But yeah, no, I think it just doesn't play its cards right. I think John Glenn was fairly new to the game, and I think his direction is sort of a little bit all over the place. And yeah, as you say, the villain is just not memorable. And also, it's BB. I mean, they try and play it seriously, yet they have a stupid character like BB.
I mean, it does have some good scenes, like when he kicks a car off the cliff and the ski chase. That's good, but yeah, I mean, it's not great. I mean, and I guess that's kind of it though for Moonraker. I mean,
yeah.
And
it's the middle film in Roger Moore's era, so it's bang smack in between the other 6 films, that he's got. Yeah, it's a ton of fun, and we like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and for the next audio commentary, you might do Godfather 2, or another Bond film. I don't mind, like whatever is
could do.
Is best. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once again, thanks to Sam Harrison for the request, and sorry it took so long to honour the request, but hope you enjoyed the commentary, and apologies for Jack's connection issues.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I mean, thankfully the last 10 to 20 minutes of the film was all right, but it's just Sky just believe in shitter, like as I said last.
Yeah. I mean, we all trust that you're doing your best to sort it out, but it can be frustrating. I mean, as I said, I used to have Sky as a broadband provider, and they are useless.
Yeah, I know. I called them out 2 or 3 times to fix it, and they did get it working a little bit, but they just, even their engineers don't even have a fucking clue what to do with the Wi-Fi. Even their own internet broadband engineers don't know what to do to fix it. But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think it's bad for you, like, it's even worse for me.
Yeah, it's all right. We got through the hangout. I mean, when you were sorting out your connection, I did sort of carry on talking. I managed to sort of keep the hangout going a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, thanks and thanks for not ending it either, because I mean we did get through it anyway, and I was there for the majority of it. It was only like a few scenes where I wasn't there because I was trying to fix my Wi-Fi, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine, of course. I mean, you know, I wouldn't dare end it, you know, unless it. I mean, if it had kept happening more frequently, then I would have said, you know what, let's just call it a day and try again tomorrow. But I mean, the first half of the movie, it was fine. You know, we managed, and then it just sort of happened 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, but an hour and 25 minutes in is where it started to happen. But
yeah,
I mean, anyway, do you want to wrap up now?
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically it for our thoughts on Moonraker.
Moonraker. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, a suitably solid, fun entry into the Bond series, and the 4th Roger Moore Bond movie, and he would go on to make 3 more. So yeah, I mean, we will probably do a commentary on For Your Eyes Only at some point, but if not, stay tuned for our next commentary. I mean, The Godfather 2 is definitely on the cards. That is going to be one to do. I'd love to do that. I mean, that would be a long one because it'll be 3 hours 20 minutes, but
it's worth it. It's worth it.
Let's hope the connection holds out for that.
Yeah, and Lord of the Rings, we could do that as well. Turn of the King at some point.
Oh, we actually did that one already.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, sorry. I mean, what was it? Did we do Fellowship and Two Towers?
I don't think we have. No, we can do that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to. Funny, that was on ITV the other day, Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Is there anything else you want to say, Jack, before we finish?
Rest in peace, Rog. We still miss you.
Oh yeah, Roger, you are Mr. Bond, and nobody did it better.
Yep. I mean, my favorite Bond, and it's a shame that it's been over a year since his passing. But I mean, he lived a good life. He, you know,
He lived to.
Yeah. So I mean, if he was still alive, he'd be 90 years old. So, yeah, 91 this year actually. He died just before his 90th birthday. So he lived a good innings, and I'm just thankful that we have all his work in Bonds still with us, and The Persuaders and The Saint. He left a long legacy of films and TV over the years, so
yeah.
and interviews as well. And he was the sweetest man. So,
Yeah.
and his charity work as well. Of course, you know, he was quite a selfless man, and yeah,
he
will be missed.
Yeah, he is, and he never thought of himself as a great actor, which is a shame, really. He didn't have a lot of self-confidence.
He didn't have. I appreciate that he didn't have an ego. He wasn't. He
Yeah.
wasn't egocentric. He wasn't self-centered. Like, I am the greatest actor ever. He's just like he was very, you know, hard on himself. Which, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, he was quite humble. He was a humble man.
He was quite level-headed, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a working class kid from London.
Yeah. Then he made his way into fame with Bond, James Bond. Well, obviously, you know, before that he did The Saint and stuff, but you know, Bond was like his big break, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he shall be missed. But yeah, no, stay tuned, guys, for future commentaries. So, till then, I'm Ollie. This is Jack. See ya.